Hey Queen, welcome back to another video. This month in our April Braid Kit, we're featuring these gorgeous lightweight crochet style using the invisible part method. So if you want to know how to get this look, just keep on watching. All right, so let's talk about foundation. Now you can do any braid pattern that you want or that you're comfortable with, but just make sure that if you're braiding your own hair or braiding somebody else's, that it's not too tight, because you don't want to go to bed with a headache. But then you also don't want it to be loose where your crochet braids or your crochet are falling out. So just make sure that it's firm enough to where it's secure, but not too tight to where it's giving you a headache. So I like to start off by braiding the hair around part of the perimeter. And so what I'm doing here is just braiding from one side of the ear all the way down to the side of the neck. And I'm bringing the other braid from the other side of the ear and I'm connecting the two. And just like the hair around our edges, the ones in our nape area and on the sides are also really thin and can be fragile. And so you just want to make sure that you're not pulling on them too tight when you're braiding. But then also this method protects it from tugging and pulling with the rest of the hair. So after the braid around the perimeter, what I did was I parted the hair horizontally from one ear to the other. And what I'm doing here now is I'm braiding the top portion all the way down. And as I'm braiding it, I'm not braiding the hair all the way to the ends because I plan on connecting them and doing a beehive. And y'all, I'm really sorry because my camera died, so I lost some of the footage of how I did this beehive, but I kind of put a little slow-mo in here so you can see what that looks like. Hopefully it helps. So I just braided the hair in a circle. But you can also just braid all the way down if you want. Like I said, you can do any braid pattern that you feel is necessary or that you prefer. So the April Braid Kit comes with 5 packs of Kima Ripple Deep. So the color that we ended up using is T1B30 and we only used 3.5 packs. All right, so it's finally time to install. So the front of the hair is gonna be installed a little differently from the back. The back, you don't really have to worry about doing the invisible method unless you really want to. Is not necessary. So you're going to put the crochet hook through part of your braid. You're going to close it up and pull it through. And when you're pulling it through, you're just going to pull it enough to where you have a loop that's big enough to where your fingers can fit through. So what you're gonna do is pull both of the strands into this loop. And I do this about 3 or 4 times just for extra security. And when you're done, you're just gonna pull on those 2 strands and that's it. You don't have to worry about tying it or making an extra knot because it should be secured. When you're doing the back, I recommend spacing it out because the great thing about crochet is you can go back in and always just add in little pieces in areas where you want more volume or you just want more hair. Okay, so for this invisible method, you'll see me do this a few times. So if you missed this one, you can just continue watching or rewind and replay the section. So what you're gonna do is very similar to what you were doing previously with just pulling one loop through instead of two. Here's another example where I'm pulling the crochet hook upwards. I'm pulling it through. And instead of pulling two of those loose strands, I'm finding just one of those strands and I'm pulling it through. One tip that I have for doing this invisible method is you want to push the crochet hook in the opposite direction of where you want your hair to fall. I hope this makes sense, but for example, you can see in this video that I'm pushing the crochet hook to my left because I want the hair to fall to my right. And when I get to the other side, I'm going to be pushing the crochet hook to my right because I want the hair to fall to my left. So if you don't do it this way where you're pushing it in the opposite direction, what you'll get is a whole lot of knots in the areas where you're supposed to have a clean, crispy part. And so to prevent this, trust me, you want to push the crochet hook in the opposite direction of where you want the hair to fall. So we're down to our last braid, and like I kept saying in the beginning, because I want this part to be closer to the left side, I'm gonna push the crochet hook to my left because I want the hair to fall on my right. And so I'm pushing it through, but I'm also pulling just one leg of the hair through. All right, y'all, so if you subscribe to the April Braid Kit, you should have gotten in your box a teasing comb. Here I'm using an edge control brush. Don't laugh at me, I know this is ghetto, but this works too. But the teasing comb works so much better because what you want to do is just comb the hair in a downward motion to create kind of like a frizziness to it, because this just hides all the parts. So basically this is how you want your hair to look. The teasing comb works so much better. Please don't mind my sister and her Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. I mean, she's obsessed, but who's not? So as a braider, this is by far my favorite part of doing hair, is just adding the mousse in. So regardless if it's braids, crochet, whatever, I love putting mousse in hair, but don't put mousse at the roots because you don't want to undo all the frizziness that you just worked so hard for. And here I'm just going back in and adding just small pieces of hair back into areas where I felt were a little too spacey. So you can definitely do the same. If you subscribe to Braid Kit, you got 5 packs, so you have definitely way more than enough hair to get this look. And we're done, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you're subscribed to Braid Kit. Make sure you're subscribed onto our YouTube channel, and we'll see you in the next video.